A crisis of faith? A recent survey shows white evangelical Protestants were the U.S. religious group most likely not to get a COVID vaccine. And now prominent leaders like the Reverend Franklin Graham are trying to change that. Curtis Chang and Kris are too. They are the co-founders of Christians and the Vaccine, a campaign working to persuade evangelicals to get vaccinated. Great to have both of you with us. Curtis, what do you think is behind the reluctance among evangelicals to get vaccinated?
The reluctance is fundamentally driven by a profound distrust of institutions, especially secular institutions, because the decision to take the vaccine really is a decision to trust institutions, the big pharma, government, the FDA, CDC. You're only going to take the vaccine if you trust institutions. And what we're seeing in the evangelical community is a profound distrust of institutions, one that's been heightened by some internal issues within the evangelical church, but also by external forces that are trying to exploit this distrust.
And we've heard some conspiracy theories thrown about, Kris, from people reluctant to get the vaccine, talking about microchips inside the vaccines. Where did that all begin?
Well, that again really began from external forces. So you have to understand there's three primary forces that are coming from the external to the evangelical church that are exploiting some internal tensions and issues within the church. So the three forces are: one, conservative media has made it a business model to recruit evangelical eyeballs by intensifying distrust, by promoting alarmist stories. That's the first force. The second one has been conservative politicians that have thought to gain votes by inflaming the distrust of evangelicals from the establishment in Washington. And then the third is online social movements. And that's where we see movements like QAnon and the anti-vaxxer movement that have purposefully targeted evangelicals to heighten their suspicion, to either sell products or gain recruits for their movement. Again, evangelicals, we have our own problems internally, but it's important to highlight that we are also being targeted by these forces to recruit our votes, eyeballs, and in some cases with the vaccine, our very bodies.
And Kris, let me ask you, obviously, evangelicals are people of faith. They have a deep faith when it comes to their religion. Why can't they have faith in these vaccines?
Yes, it really does go back to this same sort of fundamental point that Curtis has already made about institutional distrust. And frankly, that sort of distrust at some level is built into our faith, right? We're, as evangelicals, you know, one of Jesus's words was to be in the world but not of the world. So there's a little bit of a sense that many evangelicals have of struggling with authority from institutions like the CDC or NIH or certainly large companies like pharma. So that's where really the core of it is. But we really set ourselves up to be more susceptible to these things because of some of the things that have happened in recent years, vis-a-vis our consumption of conservative media and some of the folks we hear in conservative politicians.
Our colleague Ellie Reeve, she talked to some parishioners and the pastor at Life Tabernacle Church. This is in Louisiana. Take a listen to what they told her.
Are you going to get the vaccine?
No. It's detrimental to your health. It starts going into conspiracy theory type stuff. But I believe it's Bill Gates and them trying to kill us.
I feel like, and I know it works medically, but when you put something in you to help you stop from getting it, you know, that just doesn't work for me. I've never liked the idea of that.
If you have a 99.6 survival rate, why do you want somebody to contaminate your bloodstream with something that may or may not hurt you?
Kris, what would be your message to some evangelical leaders who are dismissing or in some cases actually spreading disinformation about the vaccines?
Yeah, it's a really hard message to speak to people who are actually spreading disinformation. And I'll just tell you, frankly, we don't focus on that extreme end of the spectrum because we believe, and research has shown, that there's a massive movable middle. The big issue within the evangelical community is frankly not the extreme conspiracy theories. It is more just genuine concern, legitimate concern, medical concerns, but also this issue of just fundamental distrust. And what we need, what's started to happen is it's become normal to distrust something like a vaccine. And that's not healthy for public health reasons. That's a very dangerous thing when distrust becomes sort of the built-in way that you think. So we're really trying to focus on that massive movable middle that is open to and has been shown to be open to rational, helpful thought that can direct them toward what's most helpful and healthy for them.
So quickly, Curtis, what do you think needs to happen to break through with this group?
I think we need to mobilize evangelical voices, and certainly from the high-profile folks like Franklin Graham and Robert Jeffress, who have come out in favor of the vaccine. That's going to help. But what the research shows is that movable middle is going to be most moved by people in their immediate community, by their pastor, by their friend in their church, by their friend who's in their mom's group. And that's why we created ChristiansOfTheVaccine.com. We're producing these short videos where everyday Christians can share videos to their social network, to their friends and fellow church members, as part of opening up the conversation around vaccines on a very granular level of relationship to relationship. We're in the ground game phase of vaccine outreach. This is going to be won or lost on the individual congregational and individual friend network. And we need to equip these folks to have the resources to share within their friend network. And that is actually where secular public health still has a role to play. Their voice is not going to be persuasive. So it's going to be the voices of evangelicals speaking to fellow.
Thank you so much. Curtis Chang and Kris Carter, I appreciate both of you.